All right, let's just dive right in with a big, kind of uncomfortable truth. AI adoption, it's exploding everywhere. I mean, in every industry you can think of. But here's the catch. For most companies, it's not actually delivering any real bottom line value. So, this huge disconnect, we call it the AI scaling gap. And check this out. A recent McKinsey survey found that a whopping 71% of organizations are using Gen AI on the regular. 71%. But, and this is the crazy part, only 5.5% are actually seeing a real meaningful impact on their business. I mean, just think about that gap. It's absolutely massive. And listen, this isn't some slow-moving trend. Nope, the Stanford AI Index report showed that enterprise AI usage skyrocketed from 55% to 78% in just 12 months. That's not a change, that's a revolution. It's a huge structural shift that's happening right this second. And frankly, it doesn't care if we're ready for it. So what is going on here, right? Why this huge chasm between everybody using AI and almost nobody getting real value from it? That's the big question we're going to tackle today. Let's dig in. All right, so here's our game plan. We're going to look at that AI scaling gap, talk about this huge shift from AI as an assistant to an actor, and then I'm going to introduce you to the Pulse framework. We'll break down exactly what PULSE stands for, and then, most importantly, we'll talk about how you can join that tiny exclusive 5.5% club. Okay, so the real root of this problem, it's all about a fundamental shift in what AI actually is now. It's a change that's happening right under our noses, but a lot of us are missing it. So to really get this, you have to see how much AI has evolved. You know, for the past few years, we've thought of AI as our little helper, right? Our assistant. It drafts some copy for us, summarizes our emails, passive stuff. But the game has completely changed. AI isn't an assistant anymore. It's an actor. It is actively doing the work. We're talking about it autonomously updating your CRM, firing off automations, even managing API calls all on its own. And this is what we're talking about when we say agentic AI. It's a system that doesn't just suggest what to do, it just does it. It acts on its own, navigates through your systems, kicks off real workflows. And it does all of this without a human looking over its shoulder and clicking approve. Now, this is where all the incredible power lies, for sure. But, you guessed it, it's also where the risk just goes through the roof. Which brings us to a new and honestly a much scarier problem. You know how we used to worry about shadow IT or shadow AI? You know, employees using tools that IT didn't approve. Well, that's old news. The new threat is shadow agents. This is where those unapproved AI tools aren't just being used to write an email. They are actively taking action inside your company's systems. So how in the world do you manage this new reality? Well, you need a totally new playbook, a new framework built for an AI that acts, and that's exactly where the Pulse framework comes in. I want you to think of it like a live heartbeat monitor for your entire AI workforce. Pulse is an acronym, and it stands for the 5 key pillars you need for governing these agents. That's permissioned access, usage visibility, live monitoring, system actions, and finally, enforcement. So let's break down what each of those really means. All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty. We're going to break down each letter of PULS to give you a super clear guide for how to govern this new wave of AI. First up, P is for permissioned access. And the big idea here is so simple. No master keys. That's it. Think about it. You would never, ever give a brand new intern a key that opens every single door in your office, right? So why on earth would you do that for an AI agent? This all comes down to the principle of least privilege. It just means permissions have to be super specific to the task at hand. So, if an AI agent is hired to update customer info in the CRM, it should have absolutely no access to, say, your payroll system. It shouldn't even know it exists. And with all the AI incidents we're starting to see, this isn't a nice to have, it's completely non-negotiable. Okay, next is U for usage visibility. And honestly, this quote just says it all. You cannot govern what you cannot see. It's that simple. If you have no idea what AI is plugging into your systems, you have zero chance of actually managing it. So what's the solution? You've got to create what's called an intelligence layer. Basically, a single control plane, one dashboard where you can see every single AI connection. And I mean all of them, the ones you approved, and just as important, all those shadow agents.
And the data backs this up, by the way. The best performing companies, they are 3 times more likely to have their top leaders directly overseeing this kind of stuff. And that brings us perfectly to live monitoring. Look, this is absolutely critical because an AI agent works in milliseconds. A security audit that you run next month or next week or even tomorrow, it's useless. It's completely obsolete. You're basically showing up to the crime scene days after the fact. With these agents, real time is the only time that matters.
Okay, now for S, system actions. And this one is a really big deal. It requires a total mental shift. See, the new unit of governance, the thing we need to watch, isn't the human user anymore. It's the action, the specific action the AI is taking. We have to completely stop asking, who is using this? And start asking a much more important question. What is this doing?
So what does that mean in practice? It means your monitoring has to answer very specific questions. What data did that AI pull out? What file did it just change? What automation did it just kick off? The agent's behavior, its actions, that is your new security perimeter. That's the new fence you have to watch. And finally, we have E for enforcement. And let's be blunt, this is about having a kill switch. Plain and simple. All this visibility and monitoring is useless if you can't act. Your governance has to have teeth.
What that means is you absolutely need the ability to step in instantly. The second an agent starts going off the rails, maybe it's a hallucination, maybe it's just a bad prompt, you have to be able to slam the brakes on that workflow and revoke its credentials right then and there. That's how you stop a small error from spiraling into a massive headline-making incident.
So when you put all these pieces of Pulse together, that's what separates the companies that are just playing around with AI from the ones that are actually winning with it. This is how you stop being an experimenter and start achieving real impact. This is how you join that elite 5.5%. And at the end of the day, here's the main takeaway from all the data we're seeing. Getting AI right, it's only about 20% about the cool new algorithm. The other 80%, the real work, that's all about rewiring your organization. It's about fundamentally changing your processes, your governance, and yeah, even your entire mindset. Look, the companies that are going to thrive in this new era aren't the ones trying to block AI because they're scared of it. No way. The winners will be the ones who learn how to embrace it by learning how to effectively and safely govern its pulse. Which really just leaves us with one final crucial question you have to ask yourself. When you look at your own company, at your own systems and processes, are you truly ready to govern your pulse?